who Han Ju Ho is? Anybody?
My friend.
Okay, not really thinking about your friend. Anybody else?
The former Marine who have sacrificed her life.
Yes, he died.
My friend.
He died a few days ago.
Oh, that's your friend?
I'm going to.
Is this a 50-year-old guy?
Anyways, he's a 50-year-old. I think he was around mid-50s. Anyways, he normally a diver when they go down. When you come back up, you need to take some time to recompress, so your body is more acclimated to the surface. Now, he disregarded that. He thought that his fellow Navy personnel that were down in the water were more important, so he went down there to try to save them. Now, you have to understand something about the Yellow Sea. The currents there are the third strongest in the world, the undertow. So it's very, very dangerous. And he was a very, very skilled diver. Now, when you're down there, the water's very cold. Have you ever put your hand under a cold, turn on the shower and oh, it's too cold? Well, that's what it would be like diving, kind of like an ice cube. Now, also, the visibility down there is very, 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 very small. You can't see much more, your hand in front of your face. So, can you imagine trying to get in there and try to get to your fellow soldiers and stuff? But anyways, he died. Now, would you want to be a suicide bomber?
No.
No. That, for something you believe in, an ideology, a cause?
No.
No? Why not? Why not, Jen?
I don't want to kill myself.
Okay, you saw what happened in Russia. Some people from Chechnya wanted to make a point this past week, so they decided to blow up 2 bombs in the Moscow subway system. And about 30, 40 people died. Now, these are 2 totally different related causes. One was to help his fellow comrades. The other one was for a cause that he or she, well, I guess it was she in that case, 2 female suicide bombers, they felt that they wanted to make a political point, so they killed some people. So regardless whether it's this one or this one, what they both have in common is they self-sacrificed themselves. Does anyone know what to self-sacrifice yourself? What's the definition? Self-sacrifice. Anybody else?
Giving up my.
Giving up yourself. Good, good. For someone else. For something. Now, I want to ask you. Sorry. You're in front. You're on the train platform. You see the train coming. You see a little boy fell down there. Now, you have to make a really quick decision. You save him, but in the process, you die, he lives. Would you do it?
I just lost 5 kilos. Myself right
Would
now.
you do it? Yes or no?
If I can be
If you can live?
successful, I can do it.
No. You do it, he lives, you die. No. Let's reverse it. It's your mother down there.
I will.
You will, okay. Would you do it?
I have 2 kids.
There's a stranger down there, a 2-year-old boy, he fell down. You're going to save him. Would you save him? But in the process, you will die. He will live. You would.
I have 2 kids and 1 wife. So.
Yeah. You would not die for a complete stranger. Okay. But if it's your own son, you would.
Yes.
Okay. See, I think a lot of us, we're very selfish. And self-sacrifice does not come very easy. Very easy. Now, the story that I'm going to tell you about today it took place about 34 years ago. Anybody here born before 1970? Okay, you guys will remember this, I'm sure. Most of you probably will not. Can you remember a few years ago, when Roh Moo-hyun was president, a group of Christians went to Korean from the church down in Pundam. They went to Afghanistan. 2 people died, and a lot of people criticized the Moksani, the pastor, because they were not, he did not prepare them, or the church did not prepare them before they went to Afghanistan. And because of their stupidity, 2 people died, 2 people in their group. I think it was a group of about 10 or 12 people. And then the Korean government had to negotiate, the NIS, their CIA here, had to, I guess they had to pay a lot of money to get them back here. We'll never know if they did or not, but they don't say that they paid for them, but I think we know that they did. But let's go back to 1976. You're in Athens, Athens, Greece, and you're on an airplane headed to France. And you just got back from a beautiful holiday. Maybe you're on a honeymoon with your wife, or you're taking a trip with your family, or you're just backpacking through Athens, through Greece. You get on this plane, and then it's halfway to Paris, and it's hijacked. Now, this is a true story. About 5 suicide bombers, 5 hijackers. They were of German background, but they were representing the PLO at the time. They're the Palestinian Liberation Front. And they hijacked the plane, and then they took it down to Libya. And it landed in Libya for a short time, and then more hijackers got on, and then the plane went on to Uganda. Now, at this time, has anybody heard this story before? No? Okay. A movie was made about it. And it landed, they landed in Uganda. It made world news. They landed in Uganda, and the terrorists took everybody off the plane. Now, there was one Korean on the plane, and there was a Japanese, so from this part of the world. But they took everybody off. They separated the Jews and the non-Jews. The non-Jews were allowed to go back to their countries. The Jewish people were put into this hangar, where they store aircraft, and they were put in there. There was about 100 of them. And they demanded that the Israeli government release a lot of political prisoners. But Israel at the time was, no. They said, we can't do this. But they said, if you did not, we're going to start killing one every day. And the Israeli government said we need some more time to think this through. So by July 4th, 1970, July 3rd, they gave them, by the time the plane landed, they gave them about 3 or 4 weeks to meet their demands, and they didn't. So they said, look, we need an extension, 1 more week. So in that extra week, they were preparing to go down there and save them, rescue them, kind of like what the Korean government did for the Koreans there in Afghanistan. So during that week, they put together a mock, kind of a replica of what the airport was like there in Uganda. And they practiced and rehearsed. And actually, the hangar that they were in, that the hostages were in, it was actually built about 10 years ago by an Israeli firm. So they actually had the layout and the blueprints. So they actually knew where everything was, so which was a great help to planning their raid. So they rehearsed this many times through, and they were timing it, nope, not good enough, not good enough. Many times they went through this. So they did that, but there was one thing that they had. Of the hostages that were released that were non-Jewish, one of them had a photographic memory. Photographic memory, can you tell me what a photographic memory is?
Remember everything you see.
You remember everything you see. Yes. You never forget. This lady was able to recall everything, what kind of guns the hijackers had, what kind of clothes they had, what they looked like. So they literally put together, before they went in, they knew who all the hijackers were. There were 7 of them. And they knew what they looked like all the way down to their nose, teeth, and eyes, and hair, and everything. What kind of guns they had, because this lady remembered everything. So when you're going in on a rescue mission, or surveillance, or reconnaissance, the most important thing that you need is information. This lady gave it to them. Plus, they had the design plans for this airport hangar. So They put together their plan, and then July 4th, 1976, at midnight, well, around 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 airplanes took off from Israel. And they went down, I drew this rough map here. Here's Israel. They flew down past Egypt, very low, so under radar, over the Horn of Africa, down through Kenya, and then they went into Uganda, where the Israelis were being held. And one of the planes landed, and they secured the airport. And then the other two that were circling above, one was a hospital, and the other one was a command center. Both of them landed. As soon as they landed, they took out 10 of the Russian MiGs that the Ugandan Air Force had. They just had 10 at the time. So they took them all out, then put all the hostages on the airplane and basically took off again. They did all this in 53 minutes from the time they landed. Now, there was only one person that was killed among the soldiers. Do you know President Netanyahu? The Israeli Prime Minister now? It was his older brother that was killed in the raid. That's why he's so respected in Israel as a hardliner. But they got up in the air, and then they took off and went back to Israel. The next day, the UN condemned that, saying that you invaded foreign, what do you call it? Territory, yes, whatever. So, but after that, a lot of governments around the world put together special forces. I know a lot of you served in the military, but that was actually the first time that a government's actually gone in and rescued their people like that. The United States tried to do it with Iran in the 1980s. Was it 70s? Was it 70s, the Iranian? 70s? Okay, 70s. But we failed. We failed with the Iran thing. But the Israelis were really the only ones that have successfully really pulled off a large-scale operation like that. It was called the Raid on Entebbe, and it was conducted in 1976. They did a movie on it. If you get a chance to see it, it's a bit old, but actually, the Raid on Entebbe. So these people sacrificed. These commandos sacrificed their lives to go in and save their fellow Jewish people. About 100 of them were saved through this. Three of the hostages were killed, 7 were wounded, 45 of the Ugandan military were killed, along with all 7 of the hijackers. So when you look back at your life, think of what your parents did for you. Did they sacrifice? Yes. Now, are you willing to make the sacrifice for your children, or are you just going to live for yourself? You're going to live for yourself.
Children.
Not going to have any kids, okay. Well, what I leave you with tonight, you see what the diver did. He sacrificed his life for the people who went down in the ship, but none of them survived, probably, from what we see so far. Or you're a suicide bomber, you decide to blow up yourself in Russia in the subway for a cause that you believe in. Or you look at these soldiers that went into Uganda and saved the 100 people. When you look at life, you've got to decide, what am I going to do? Are you going to sacrifice yourself for somebody else, or for a cause? I think at the end of the day, it's all up to you to decide what you want to do. But remember, your parents made a sacrifice for you. Thank you.